Hello everybody, today we got the new Splash-O-Matic kit and Jet Squelcher kit, and let's talk about these. It's not going to be a fun discussion, but it's a discussion nonetheless. Let's go. So yeah, Splash-O-Matic was added to the game, and I tweeted out as soon as I woke up that Splash Neos to be the most stupid kit for this game ever released yet, and that's saying something, because we have stuff like Dapple Nuvo. So what's the problem? Also, by the way, the quote retweet ratio on this, and the Japanese one is not much better. It's not ratioing it, but it doesn't look very positive. So yeah, it's Suction Bomb and Tri-Strike. And if you look at that and think for 2 seconds, it's like, well, great. That's fine. It's a displacement kit that's really good. What's the problem? Like with Dapple, T-Tech is in the game. Except this one's even worse because these weapons are even more similar. And the subs are even more similar. And the specials are still the exact same. Like, what are we doing? We just put this in the game. Like, why are we have 14 sub-weapons. And now 17 special weapons. How are we getting kits this repetitive? I talked about how NZAP89 earlier in this update did it well, having a kit very similar to T-Tech, but having a sub and special that do slightly different things, allowing there to be use cases for both options. Any positive praise there is kind of out the window because we forgot it a week later when we made the Splash-O-Matic, which is just hilarious. Now, to be clear, T-Tech has the better bomb. Suction no longer has insane object damage because it's 180, so, like, this is just straight up better. The only mode you can make an argument for is TC because it'll stick to the tower, and even then, I think that Splat Bomb is going to be fine. It was never an issue for T-Tech players to play on tower control. But outside of maybe, and again, maybe tower control, one kit is just going to be better than the others. Right now it's T-Tech because it has the better bomb, but like, one of these is just going to be played over the other all the time because they're basically the exact same thing. Oh, Suction's better than Splat Bomb now? Time to pick Splash instead. Oh, Splat Bomb's better than Suction now? Time to pick T-Tech instead, and that's it. And if that's all the thought process that goes into picking your weapon over the other, we probably made some mistakes along the way. And we could have had this. Zipcaster was on Splash originally. It looked cool, it made sense because it had the perfect accuracy, and it would have been a different playstyle, and no shooter has Zipcaster. Like, what do they do? Put this on the Sploosh tomorrow? I'm gonna jinx it. It probably is gonna be on the Sploosh tomorrow, and we're gonna have to live with that being a poor option. I don't know, maybe that could work, but yeah, not as, whatever. Besides the point. It was right there, It was right there. They literally had it in the game at one point. So, I don't know, it's just disappointing. I don't think there's any other word to it. It sucks. Yeah, it's not gonna be broken, I hope, but it's just similar to T-Tech and there's no reason to put it in the game, and that's really about it. So it's kind of disappointing. What else is there to talk about? Manta's not getting the changes it needed. No spawn region changes, no extra routes added. Maybe the ranked modes have something, but so far we got nothing. The left side still has pathetically no cover, so it's very easy to spawn lock. The right side has that rail added, and this part's a bit lower, but that's it. Still limited entrance routes in the mid, still forced to go through mid. Not that I'm surprised or anything, but yeah, hopefully the ranked modes include a few more changes, because right now, we're not really seeing too much that would imply positive changes, so that's kind of unfortunate. And then to wrap up just an overall disappointing morning is Jet Squelcher, Toxic Mist, and Inkstorm. So someone was actually able to figure out I got Inkstorm. I don't have the tweet on me right now because of some droplets in the Super Chump reveal that made it clear that Inkstorm was coming from the Jet Squelcher. And yeah, so new special and a returning sub. This kit is also disappointing. Now, to give credit where credit's due, the one positive thing about this is if they wanted to keep Jet as this displacement kind of backline weapon, without it being spammable, they picked the good option. Because Storm is not very spammable. It's kind of a similar solution that they turned to when it came to Expo, right? You can displace people, but because it's an 8-second duration special and you can't farm it until that special is over, it tones down the spammability compared to, like, S2 missiles. So that's great. And, you know, obviously, it's not completely global range, so they did actually, you know, not add the most broken thing to the game. The downside is Toxic Mist is just kind of okay for it. It's not really that great. It's a returning sub from Splatoon 2. It's one of the best weapons to get Toxic Mist on. In fact, it might be the best Toxic Mist weapon in the game right now. No, Mini exists, but, you know, makes the most sense for Toxic Mist to be on it, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know, this kind of sucks. Jet Squelcher players had a very cool Burst Bomb Kraken combo in Splatoon 1 that played aggressively and fit the weapon's role the way it needed and was fun. And, like, this Jet kit is inoffensive in a sense that, you know, Jet's gonna still be a displacement thing, but it's no longer gonna break the game, and it no longer has any broken attributes. But to me, honestly, that just makes it boring. You know, I talked about Jet Squelcher having a really fun kit in the past with Burst Bomb and Kraken, or even having potential to be like this backline weapon that's more mobile and supports its team if it had Burst Bomb and a more limited range special. There were a lot of different ideas that you could do for this weapon, and, you know, at least until third kits happen, it's kind of dead in the water. Like, yeah, Custom Jet will be able to see use if you really want to pick the Jet Squelcher. It's a good kit. It competes with Expo a little bit in zones, but it has reasons to be used, and it could arguably be better on the other modes. So, like, you know, if you want to play Jet Squelcher and you don't care too much, or you just wanted to see more Jet Squelcher, there you go. But it's not going to be anything that super enables a lot of different comps. It's not going to be anything that feels super special to play anymore. It's just kind of watered down. I don't know. Again, it's not the worst solution they could have done. It's better than if they gave it, like, Burst Missile or Burst Whale or some other special that could be very problematic for the game, but it's also just kind of, well, this exists. Safe to say, today is the most disappointing set of changes and kits we've gotten. It is 3 posts of just disappointment, and excuse me for a second. Voice dying for a second over the lack of sensible kits. And yeah, I don't know. And also at this point, it's highly likely that Kraken and Super Chump are only on 2 weapons, even though we put Inkjet on 3. And that's a little disappointing because they're new specials and they're cool, and there's a very limited range of options to try them out on. I'll say this. The balance patch that's going to happen this season is going to be one of the most important balance patches in Splatoon history. They can't afford to mess it up this time. It's gone way too far. There's now more Splash that's going to be played in the next meta. You know, even, like, we have to actually change things. I have nothing else to say. Like, the game balance needs to change. The special balance is awful, and the main weapon balance cannot be fixed until the special weapon balance happens. And especially if we're going to add these kits that seem fun but are held back by weird special, like with L3 and with Rapid Deco, then these kits are not going to get the chance to shine. And just to be clear, we've seen what happens in the previous season if the things you add to the game end up not seeing any use even at a casual level. The season ends up feeling boring. That's the main downfall of Chill Season, and I hope it's not a Fresh Season. Let's hope we get some banger Tri-Slosher kit tomorrow and we get a good balance patch. See y'all later.